There are many traditional instruments in Indonesia. Aside from being played and enjoyed by Indonesians, these musical instruments are also renowned internationally for their beautiful sound. Gamelan is a type of indigenous orchestra native to the islands of Java and Bali. It consists of several varieties of gongs and various sets of tuned metal instruments that are struck with mallets. This instrument comes from Central Java and was first found during the Majapahit era. Gamelan is part of a percussion often played in traditional Javanese music called karawitan. Angklung is a traditional Indonesian instrument that comes from West Java. It is made from a number of bamboo that are perfectly arranged. To produce beautiful tunes, angklung should be played in a group. Since each performer in an angklung ensemble is typically responsible for just one note, angklung performers need to play their instruments at appropriate times to produce complete melodies. Suling bamboo is a Southeast Asian bamboo flute. It is a widely known musical instrument from West Java, which is no less popular than the angklung. It is usually made of a long, thin-walled bamboo tube and has 4 to 6 holes, which control melody. The key to using the bamboo flutes is by paying attention to finger positions and controlling the speed of air when blowing the instrument.
Kaso pondok, kaso panjang, kaso ngaroyong ke jalan, najan sono, najan neman, saya ngobrol di jalan.
Oh my God, I feel like in a Sundanese restaurant one.
We just need the food. Sundanese food. Wow.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That was Kang Dan and Mbak Dia. Thank you so much for performing that. That's so wonderful.
Okay. As a Sundanese, they used to call it as a teteh.
Yeah, teh.
Teteh dia and
Dia.
Kang Dan. Okay, since you guys are playing a very beautiful sound before, it's a Sundanese song, can you tell us, Kang, how you become a traditional musician?
Yeah, I first started as a band guy. I loved the guitar and drums and keyboard, and I eventually wanted something to make it more unique. And so when I came to Indonesia, I was blown away. I was able to take part in the gamelan. I was introduced to these instruments, the bamboo flute and others. And in the meanwhile, my wife, she loved jazz. She is a professional pianist. And she is learning the roots of her Indonesian culture as we learn together.
Tete Dia, you're a jazz pianist.
Hi, Teh.
Yeah.
Teh, since you are here with us today, welcome to C Morning Show. Before we continue to ask about the Kang Dan, who loves Indonesian culture, the music and everything, can you tell us first about how you guys met?
So actually, I'm a musician also. So back in 2017, I had performance with my band, which is the name of the band is She. Maybe you guys know She band. Yeah, and then we had the same performance. Yeah, we are on the same stage. And he played kecapi and then I played piano. So that's how we met at first time.
Such a good story.
Do you familiar with the song from She?
Yeah.
No, tunggu dulu. Right? That is the one that I remember. Okay.
Such a wonderful story.
Right.
Now, Kang Dan, I want to ask you, Kang Dan, what instrument do you like the most, and what musical instrument do you plan on learning on next?
Yeah, my favorite is this suling bamboo. And of course, all over Asia, especially Southeast Asia, we have suling bamboo. And so it's so great to go to each country and see their different styles, and around the areas of Indonesia to see these different styles of suling bamboo. And it is so light. It is not expensive, but it makes such a beautiful sound. So I still have a long way to go to master this. The instrument that I really want to learn is the gendang Sunda, the big Sundanese drum set. My main problem is I am not flexible, and I have a difficult time sitting Indian style, as we call it, to play that instrument. Much to learn the gendang Sunda.
Okay. So by now, how many Indonesian instruments you are capable to play with?
About 5.
Wow.
I play gamelan, and in the gamelan we learn to play all the different types of instruments in the gamelan. But from there, I learned the kecapi, the Indonesian Sundanese zither, then the suling.
Right.
And I have here even a very interesting instrument. It's called the karinding.
Okay. How do you play it? Oh, wow.
Oh, and you can make musical melody with that kerimbing.
Yeah, it's again bamboo, but it's such a fascinating sound, especially when it's put together in an orchestra of people playing this tiny little instrument.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. But I'm curious, right? You guys are a power couple that loves music. Do you guys ever just like jazz out and compose new music together with the traditional music and the piano, Teh Dia?
Yeah, right. We compose music together, and we mix between modern music and traditional music. Especially I'm using piano, and then he's using suling. Yeah, and then the arrangement of the music, I put jazz music in it, and then Kang Dan put a kind of traditional Indonesian music melody in our song.
Wow.
I love those hybrid where they combine the modern and the traditional. I think that's something that I appreciate personally a lot, and I think the musicians as well.
And it becomes a world music.
Yeah,
people call
it
it,
becomes
right?
worldwide.
Because it's a combination between
Correct.
traditional and international tunes. So the current generation of Indonesian youth seems to be uninterested with traditional music. Do you have any advice on how to make the youth more interested in preserving traditional music from Kang Dan and also Teteh?
Yes, I believe it comes down to those who are my age, those who are the parents' age. If we begin to love the traditions, the music, the culture, it will inspire the youth and they will follow along and they will be exposed to it.
Yeah.
But if we ourselves as parents and as teachers are not aware of the treasure of the culture,
Yeah.
then we don't have much hope for the youth to suddenly be falling in love with it because they need to see it from us first. So
Yeah,
my
true.
advice is to let it flow, and we don't force the youth. We don't tell them you need to study this or else it's gone, because that's not how love for your culture begins. It begins with falling in love, even with, my wife likes to say, falling in love with the food.
Yeah.
That can be a door to opening a culture because there are so many aspects to culture that we can excite the youth about.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. Now, speaking about food, Kang and Teteh, Dia, I want to ask you, what are your favorite Sundanese foods? Do you guys like usually cook at home during this pandemic, or?
Yes. Since we
Yes.
know in, Sundanese food is really
Semur Jengkol is the
Someone
name of
Oh
favorite
my
food.
God!
Nice.
Really? Seriously?
Seriously,
Wow.
I love it as semur, I love it as balado, all the different forms. And people who are not familiar with jengkol, it is basically a vegetable, kind of
Right.
like a big lima bean, but it has a thickness to it that you don't even need to eat meat,
I
especially for
never tried
vegetarians.
jengkol myself as an Indonesian. Never tried it before.
Ah, well,
Have you tried one?
we need to learn from them.
Right.
I usually just order the same food, so again, my palate is not as adventurous maybe as Kang Dan and Teteh Dia.
Okay, so since you mentioned about your favorite food and Teteh and Kang Dan, also a musician, do you have any plan to collaborating to compose a popular music in the future?
Yeah, we are working on it. And composing, when you're combining like the style of jazz and the piano with the ethnic Indonesian scales, such as Selendro and Pelog, it's challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging to open your mind because you are used to hearing the music this way, and the other style is used to hearing the music that way, and no, that sounds wrong. That sounds wrong. But it takes the opening of the mind to say, this is a new style because we're collaborating in a different way that we've heard. So it's a process, and we've written songs already, but we are still in the process of finding our way to the way where both sides are happy, the East and the West.
Right.
Yeah, wow, very interesting. Now, building up on that, I'm curious, as you guys are performing and collaborating with different people, how are you guys performing during this pandemic, right? Because we can't usually perform in person, but now everything needs to be done online. Can you share a little bit of insight? How does that kind of affect you? How does the pandemic affect your performance in terms of sharing the culture with other people?
Oh yeah, well, again, as you had mentioned, there are some opportunities as people are getting familiar with Zoom,
Right.
Google Meet, all of those platforms, it doesn't matter which platform, but they're getting used to doing these distance calls in which I'm looking and talking to you right now into a camera. And that is what musicians do. That is what artists, and that's what actors and journalists, that's what we do. And so in some ways it's conducive to create, and nothing is stopping us from practicing and composing.
Right.
And so there are many opportunities now in this pandemic. Of course, the live shows have shut down, and that's a big blow.
Yeah,
because
true.
those that are used to making their money with music, a lot of it comes from the live show.
Right.
But thankfully, we have teaching to fall back on, so I see some big opportunities with this current digital a platform that we have to use now.
Yeah, I think the pandemic, it brings a lot, a different kind of fortune for some of people. Since you guys are creating a music, maybe you can focus, stay at home and composing a very great music. So, Kang Dan, since you are very fluent in Sundanese culture, not only the language, also the food, the music, the art as well. Is there any other culture that you want to learn, especially here from Indonesia?
Yes, so many.
Yeah.
And so we have to make a list of the priorities. And so, because I know very little about Sumatra right now, and Sumatra has such deep cultures, from Aceh, and then we have the Batak people. And so many cultures in between those famous ones that I'd love to dive deeper more into the ancient Sumatra traditions.
Okay.
How about you, Tete Dia? Do you also same?
Yeah, but for me, I love Bali.
Bali.
Bali culture, but I love everything in Indonesia, But one thing that I want to learn is right now, Balinese dance.
Balinese dance, yes.
Yeah, Balinese dance, and the music also. I like the gamelan. Gamelan Bali.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you like to play a traditional instrument as well, Teh?
Yeah, because I was my major in college is music education, and I learned some gamelan Bali, and I learned some gamelan Jawa, and I learned angklung as well. Yeah, and I play this one, but not as good as you.
That is also interesting. Mostly Indonesian are not really familiar with traditional music, as if you're not someone who play regularly for a traditional instrument, probably you don't really into it. How do you see, Kang Dan, about Indonesian traditional music development in the future? How Indonesian will appreciate our own culture as you are, as a foreigner?
Yeah, I see a lot of optimistic opportunities with the circles that I am in, with a lot of the cultural experts, a lot of the musicians coming out of the art schools, and there are some fantastic art colleges all throughout Indonesia. And I see what they're doing, and I think there really is big opportunity to keep it alive just from the native people themselves. So my job, I think, is to point others who are interested, especially native Indonesians, to the other native Indonesians who are doing a fantastic job of preserving their culture, because we have so many, and I think that the opportunity lies right here among the native Indonesian people and the native Indonesian artists just to connect them with each other and to open up the doors of study and of communication and of sharing their knowledge.
Wow, that's great.
Because mostly we saw traditional music performance only on the special occasion.
Like weddings and stuff like that.
Right.
I want to thank you so much, Kang Dan and Teh Dia, for appearing today on the C Morning Show. We continue to wish you both continued success. But before you go, can you play for us another song as we end the session?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on the show. And we'll end up with Buboy Bulan. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Waiting first.